I had to shut down my author website. I'm revamping my business model that I'm sure might fail, and I'm pimping myself out and writing in a new genre. And that's just the first month of 2025. Yay me. I shot this video twice, and this was the intro to my first attempt at this video. You know, the one I already shot and edited and looked so cute in. I had it all ready to upload until I had a rapid shift of mind. Initially, I had this whole plan that I thought I was going to do and still might do. It's just that now I'm doing it differently because for a year, I'm kind of shutting down. Aaliyah Zealous. This has been one of the most depressing and uncomfortable decisions I've had to make in a long time. I'm shutting down my site, deciding not to publish any new work, and putting a hold on my publishing business this year because I've been feeling challenged on things regarding my purpose, my self-worth, and my sense of stability. But you know what's funny? This is exactly the same feelings and problems I was facing 10 years ago. Crying in my room in the basement when I committed to being a writer in the first place. I'm shutting down for a year because I'm tired of feeling burnt out, feeling financially unstable, and like I'm constantly rushing when it comes to writing and when it comes to my art. I'm tired of feeling this way because this isn't how I want to live. Like, this isn't how I creatively want to live. When I imagine myself as a writer and as a creative, I imagine myself creating with much more ease. I imagine myself having plenty of time to write, to plan, to enjoy the process of writing and planning and publishing, and not feeling like I'm consistently rushing to write a story, edit it, put it together, publish it, come up with the marketing for it, blast it on my socials, and then once I have that done, do it all over again. Because in reality, having a couple of months to write and promote a book is not a lot of time. And I know that when I imagine myself as a successful and thriving and flourishing writer and creative, I imagine myself creating with much more ease than I am. And the fact that a lot of things are happening that I fail to confirm that, like my hosting site is coming to its year-end plan and I don't have all the finances to manage it. And the fact that at the beginning of this year, this whole entire month, I've just been sick. I've just been out for the count. My energy has just been low. I've been pushed and pulled in a couple of different directions that has nothing to do with my business, and that has nothing to do with my business or writing, and I haven't been able to sustain it. And the fact that even just thinking about a plan for the year, because I had a plan, I have a book calendar, and I had a book calendar for what I was going to write for the year and what I was going to create, what I was going to do. And the fact that whenever I thought about it, I got completely overwhelmed and implementing it just seemed impossible. All of that leads me to believe that how I'm living my life as a creative and what I'm doing is just affirming that I need to take a year off. So this year I decided that I am going to rearrange my priorities. The things that I want to focus on this year is being financially stable and living my life the way that I want, creatively. You know, a part of the stress that comes with being a business owner and being an entrepreneur and a creative is the financial aspect. And a lot of times, before you have a well-established platform as an artist, as a writer, a lot of times you're making those investments into your work yourself, and that can be depleting. So a part of me taking a huge step back this year is positioning myself to be more financially stable, to take off that added stress and strain when it comes to my creative work, and to focus on living my life the way that I want and that I envision when I'm at my best and when I am my most successful. And like I said, that's me creating with more ease and focusing on the joy of the process of writing and editing and creating content, and not feeling rushed or overwhelmed by the hundreds of things that I pile onto my own plate to keep up with my ambitious demands. The reason I wasn't living like this before is because I believed that if I just kept pushing and pushing, that eventually my life would level out to look more easeful and like the way that I envisioned. I had this belief that if I just kept going, that the easeful part was part of the success, that the easeful part was part of me doing all that I needed to do to earn getting to that point. But I realized that that wasn't going to happen, because life is going to keep going. I'm constantly going to have new projects, because I already have a whole document full of hundreds and hundreds of projects that I want to write. And how I've been treating it so far, kind of like a to-do list, to where I've been so eager to just cross all of these ideas off of my list to say that I have done them. But I realized that treating my creative work like that was not going to allow me to live a creative life of ease. So I realized that in order to actually live the life that I want, that I had to just live it. I had to just become a writer who creates more easefully, and I wasn't going to work my ass off into an easeful life. I wasn't going to workhorse myself into one day waking up and I have a slow, enjoyable day. This was such a hard and depressive decision for me to make, because I had have tons of limiting beliefs when it comes to my work and my writing. I had this fear that if I took too long and if I took some time off, then by the time that I come back, I'll be behind and readers won't be interested in what I've written anymore. Readers and followers won't be interested in what I create, and I will wind up missing my chance and being completely behind in life on the person that I want to be while I'm approaching the age of 30. And it's been pressing on my biggest fears. Like, some of my biggest fears are working so hard in something for a decade now, putting my all into it, even though it's something that I enjoy, even though it's something that I love to do, putting so much hard work into something that results in nothing. And I know there's going to be people who would say that, well, you know, what you do isn't nothing, like you created something, so that isn't nothing, and if you enjoy it and you like it, then it shouldn't matter. That's true, but I learned that there's different levels for why I create that makes it overall fulfilling for me as a writer. The first level for why I create is I create for myself. I actually enjoy the process of writing. I enjoy the process of creating. It's a way for me to express myself, and I enjoy that expression. I love the storytelling. I love the layers of a story. I love the imagination, and all of that is so aligned with me that I feel fulfilled when I'm doing it, and then I have it, something tangible, completed in my hands. The next reason that I find for why I've created this thing, like after I have it completed in my hands and I have something tangible, is I want to share with others and have a meaningful connection with them through my work. A lot of time that looks like getting comments or reviews on my socials or the platforms where I sell my books, and seeing people's reactions and their thoughts, whether good or bad, or what they found was interesting, and just seeing like their overall, how they connected to my work, how they interacted with my work, and how they experienced my work. For me, that's where the connection happens that feels fulfilling. Just the fact that someone picked up my work and has read it or engaged with my work in a meaningful way to where they actually have thoughts about it, that feels fulfilling for me. And sometimes, you know, because not everybody is verbal, so not everybody is leaving a review, or not everybody is posting comments on my socials and stuff like that. So even just seeing the amount of people who download my books or who watched my content, and seeing that there are people who are just have eyes on it, to me that's also a form of connecting with people through my work. It's the fact that they found it interesting enough to watch, or the fact that they found it interesting enough to have it in their possession and to invest their resources and their time into having it and reading it. And then the next level is, my thought process is naturally from writing and sharing and having that connection, then my writing would naturally become a self-sustaining practice. It'll become a self-sustaining practice in a way of, I created it, people engage with it, and they like it, they invest their resources in it, and then I'm able to use those resources to create more and write more in a comfortable way, to where I'm not self-sacrificing, to where I'm not sacrificing my well-being or the quality of my work to continue. And I guess I feel like there's something in that self-sustaining, being able for my craft to be a self-sustaining entity, that just makes it a full circle for me. I don't know, I guess I need to explore that some more, but for me that feels like another layer of meaningfulness and fulfillment, that not only have I created something, and not only are people engaging with it in a meaningful way, but also it's gotten to the point where it's its own self-sustaining entity, to where it produces and it receives, to where it can produce more. The hardest part about coming to this decision is coming to terms with what I needed to do. It was so hard to accept that taking a year off was the best decision for me, because like I said, it inflamed all of my fears and my self-limiting beliefs of, okay, if I let go now, then I'm just going to be sabotaging all of the followers that I'm just now accumulating, and I've worked so hard to accumulate up to this point. Now I'm going to take a whole year off, and then people just aren't going to care about what I create anymore, or I'm going to take a whole year off, and that's going to take so long to where the readers that I've accumulated up until this point, that I worked so hard to accumulate up until this point, like every single reader, now they're no longer going to be interested because I took too long. So I really desperately wanted to hold on to not having to take a big of a step back that I am going to take, because I desperately did not want those fears to become true. So coming to terms with the fact that no, I do need to take a year off, like no, I am exhausted and I can't even create and I can't even create properly because I'm mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted and feel overwhelmed. Taking the year off is the best option for me. And what really kept me stuck is that I constantly find myself being pulled in two different directions when it comes to how to handle my life and my creative work. I feel like I'm pulled in one direction where the ideology is, surrender, and if it's meant to be, it'll be, and God's timing, and once you release it, it'll come into fruition, and stop forcing it. And then this other ideology that pulls at me, which is, you're an entrepreneur and you make your own luck as a business owner, and you're supposed to work hard and you have to create your own opportunities and stuff like that. It's like these two different opposing ideologies that pull me in two different directions, and I'm never sure which one I should be acting in that moment, because it's like, okay, well, if I'm just supposed to be relaxing and surrendering and letting it flow, it's like, well, damn, God, you taking a little bit of a long time. I'm struggling. Hello, can you at least tell me, am I on the right path? Am I even pointing in the right direction? Is there some type of sign that lets me know, yes? And then if I'm supposed to be working hard and creating my own opportunities and go, then it's like, Okay, but when I do that, why does it feel like no matter how hard that I work, I'm not moving and I'm not getting anywhere? And it's starting to really mess with my sense of self-worth and my sense of purpose and self-esteem, because now, because I'm not moving, because I'm putting all this energy into it and I'm working hard and I'm still not moving, it's making me think that, okay, it's not happening because you're just not good enough. And it doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to happen because you're just not good enough. And that pisses me off. And the reason that I don't fall into a pit of despair with that ideology is because I know that I'm good enough. Like, I know. I do, over this past decade, like, I do have readers who have, I have built up readers who have purchased my work and have said how much they enjoy my work. I have readers who have never read dark fantasy before who now love dark fantasy because they've picked up my work and they've told me. And I have people who love what I create and who enjoy it. So I do get a lot of feedback, and I have made consistent money from my own work. It's just not up to a point where I can consistently sustain myself and fund my entire life for a long time, but I have made money from my own work. So I feel like having all of those experiences, I know that I'm good at what I do. I know that I'm a good writer. So that doesn't completely take me out, but still, those thoughts be fluttering. They be zooming, and they do put me on edge. So instead of continuing to bounce back between these ideologies of let it flow or hard work and keep working, I decided to just stop and take a step back so I can recalibrate and reassess the whole situation. So I can ask myself of, why do I even create in the first place? Like, why do I write? Get back to understanding why I write and why I create and why I do what I do. Because I found in getting back to why I do something and what my purpose that I have in doing something, then I could take away all of the fluff, all of the societal standards, all of the things that I think or have gotten feedback that my writing journey is supposed to be, and I can focus back on what was my purpose in being a writer in the first place. And then I can better assess of, okay, well, if I'm doing those things and I'm fulfilling that purpose actively, then I can stop disillusioning myself into believing that I'm doing something wrong or something is wrong. And I'm very happy that I came to this decision. I'm very happy that I honed in on this decision, because I'm working really hard on trying to be a confident, assertive, and bold person, and being someone who can just trust in my own decisions, even if it scares me. Even though this decision scares me, even though it fucks with my sense of self-worth, even though it nags at my sense of purpose, at my self-esteem, even if I'm still unsure about it and scared of what the outcome would be or will be, I'm happy that I'm at a point where I can stop and listen to my body and listen to what I need and trust that I know what I need in this moment. And it is correct. So to prep for this decision, I spent a whole day, or even to come to this decision, I spent a whole day of creating a plan of focusing on financial stability, focusing on creating with ease, and focusing on what I'm going to do when I come back to going full throttle in my creative writing career. And what I like about putting a plan together, and what I'm hoping and I know that it will do, is even though I feel nervous about the situation, even though I had a whole depressive episode about the situation and I'm scared and it's inflaming a lot of my fears and beliefs, self-limiting beliefs about myself, putting a plan together helps me to do all of the grunt work up front of like making the decisions while I have a clear head of like making the decisions, setting my goals, and getting a clear idea of what I want to implement throughout the year. And having that plan set helps me to just focus on implementing the plan instead of second guessing myself. I already did the mental work and the decision making up front, so all I have to do throughout the year is just focus on implementing those decisions that I already made. even if I'm nervous about them. So when I get to those moments where I am at my most nervous, or I'm really kind of in my mind and in my emotions about where I am in life and where I am as far as my creative purpose and my career and stuff, I don't have to try to make decisions on the fly while being steeped in those emotions. I already have a plan of what I'm going to do throughout the year, and I can just stick to the plan. It's kind of like my past self has already told me what to do, so I just have to listen to my past self, even if my present self is wallowing in some unsavory and uncomfortable emotions and struggling to figure out how to get out of them. And how I knew that this was the best decision for me was I felt relief within my body. Like, I felt, even though mentally I was struggling, even though I was going back and forth, even though I felt disappointed and all of these thoughts of not giving up and feeling like I was turning my back on my craft were floating through my mind, ultimately when I came to the decision, I felt relieved. And now that I've sat with the decision, I can see a clearer way forward. I can see how I can accomplish my goal of, one, being more financially stable, and two, living a life that is more creatively at ease. But I can also see when I get back to publishing my work and when I get back to promoting new work and stuff like that, I can see a way forward. Like, I can see how I can implement it better and bring everything into fruition better. I could just see more clearly how I want my life to unfold. I've come to terms of what kind of writer I am. I know that I'm the kind of writer who loves to plan. I love to plan. I love to have ample amount of time to write and enjoy the writing, to plan out the marketing content and be creative with it, and enjoy making the marketing content and being creative with it. I like having a couple of books finished and completed and ready to be published long before its publishing date. So while I'm working or going into a new project, I can go into a new project just curious and feeling like it's fun and feeling very free with creating and experimenting, because I have plenty of time, because I feel like I'm ahead of schedule, because I already have 2 projects that are completed and it's not nowhere near even close to their publishing date yet. Like, for example, one of the books that I had on my book calendar is meant to be published in May, because the themes of the book go with the themes of May and the holidays that are set in May. But May is only like 4 months from now, and I'm nowhere near to completing the book, let alone have a marketing plan for it. So of course, if I fall behind on that project, then I'm going to be behind on the second project and the third, and so on and so forth. And that just constantly creates this cycle of always feeling behind, always feel like I'm just catching up, and always feeling like I don't have the proper amount of time to finish a project and express myself creatively the way that I fully feel fulfilled in doing so. So taking a whole year off gives me an immense sense of relief, to where the project that I have set for May of this year, now it's set for May of next year, and I have a whole year to complete it much more easily. And of course, I know that I'm going to get done with it before the year's up and be well on to my second or third project. But it gives me so much more freedom to really let the project breathe and really enjoy the process. So as much as I was hoping for 2025 to be my year and to really burst out of the plastic like everybody else, 2025 is not my year. It's not my year. I'm realizing that I'm still in a builder year. 2025 is another builder year. I'm still in a building phase. I'm still in a planning. I'm covered in muck and debris, and I'm still in the middle of the process of trying to be who I want to be. And I've made peace with that. Hopefully by the time that hopefully by the time that 2026 comes around, I will be finished laying the groundwork for not only my creative work, but I will be finished laying the groundwork for how I want to live my life creatively. I'll be living how I envision myself living when I envision myself as a creative, thriving, successful writer. I'll be living much more easily. I will be enjoying the process again of writing and creating. I will be very proud at the stage that I'm at in what I'm creating at that time, and financially I'll be in a better place where I can continue to invest in my work in a more meaningful way. So I'm hoping that by time 2026 comes around, I will be well on my way to living the life that I want to live as a writer and an artist. And 2026 will be my breakout year, because this year is a bust. I mean, January, before I could even make it out the month, January jumped me, beat me up, spit in my face. Also, it could be sure to let me know that 2025 was not my year, and I received the message loud and clear. So I hope everybody is enjoying and will continue to enjoy their 2025. As for me, I'm going to be in my hobbit hole until 2026. And hopefully that will be the year that I thrive along with everybody else. Bye.